the Great Emu War of 1932. In the vast, sunburnt landscapes of Western Australia, a war was waged, not against invaders, rebels, or even nature itself, but against birds. This is the story of the Great Emu War of 1932, one of the strangest events in history. The year was 1932. Australia was reeling from the Great Depression. Soldiers returning from World War I had been promised farmland in the sparsely populated regions of Western Australia. Many of these veterans-turned-farmers faced harsh conditions, poor soil, relentless heat, and now, an unexpected adversary. As the farmers struggled to make a living, a menace appeared: emus. These flightless birds, up to 6 feet tall and weighing over 100 pounds, migrated in the tens of thousands. Drawn to the wheat fields, they devoured crops and trampled fences.
We fought wars overseas. Now we're losing one at home to overgrown chickens.
Desperate, the farmers turned to the government for help. The response was as unusual as the problem itself. The Minister of Defence, Sir George Pearce, approved a military solution. And so, in November 1932, the Great Emu War began. Armed with 2 Lewis machine guns and 10,000 rounds of ammunition, Major GPW Meredith of the Royal Australian Artillery led the campaign. The mission: eliminate as many emus as possible. But the emus proved formidable opponents. Their speed and erratic movements made them difficult targets. The soldiers managed to kill only a few birds in their first encounter, while the rest escaped into the bush. The emus were no ordinary enemy. They could run up to 50 kilometers per hour and seemed to have a natural sense of strategy. One flock, referred to as the Army Division, split into smaller groups, making them harder to attack. Major Meredith, actor. If we had a military division with the bullet-carrying capacity of these birds, we'd face any army in the world. Despite their best efforts, the soldiers faced logistical nightmares. Machine guns jammed, the terrain was too rough for vehicles, and the emus kept coming. After a week, only a few hundred emus had been killed. By some estimates, over 20,000 birds still roamed the area. Newspapers mocked the campaign, and the government withdrew the military. With the withdrawal of troops, the emus were declared the victors. The government eventually turned to other solutions like bounties and better fencing. But the Great Emu War left its mark, becoming a symbol of bureaucratic missteps and human folly. Today, the emu remains an iconic part of Australia's wildlife and its history. The Great Emu War serves as a reminder: sometimes nature fights back. And so, this chapter of history ends, with a victory for the emus and a chuckle for the rest of us.